Yes, I saw Dune Part 2, and these are my thoughts.
Warning: the following footage contains spoilers from the new film Dune Part 2. Don't say I didn't warn you, because clearly I did, because I'm speaking to you right now. And also, my address is... Wait. Who wrote this? What is this script? Anyways, subscribe if you like.
I don't even know where to begin on this review for Dune Part 2. I'm just gonna say it. Dune Part 2 is a masterpiece in almost every way, and I just don't think it's close. It is a masterpiece. In fact, it is such a masterpiece. But I still have some notes regarding the movie. So here are some notes I had regarding Dune Part 2. Here we go. Thank you for listening to my notes. So let's get into the actual review.
Muad'Dib, the prophet, the one who points the way. These are our own religious patterns, aren't they?
So maybe only 2 times in my life have I ever left a movie theater speechless. That was watching Oppenheimer and then watching Dune Part 2. I was so speechless that I just wrote a Letterboxd review that said, it's good. Because I couldn't even find the words to describe this movie, because this movie is so good that I didn't even know what to say about it. But after sleeping on it, and especially after sleeping on a irritated eye, because when we got home from watching Dune Part 2, my brother, who's also my editor, is an idiot and went ahead and sprayed cleaner in my eye. So not only did I sleep with an irritated eye, I also slept on Dune Part 2 to process my thoughts. And so this is my Letterboxd review, which you can follow right here. And here's my review. I have finally collected all of my thoughts. I know what to think. The movie is a masterpiece, and that's an understatement. Because usually the word masterpiece is thrown around. Like, I saw someone call Rebel Moon a masterpiece. In what world is Rebel Moon considered a masterpiece? Because I don't want to live in that world.
Stop.
It's not good. Villeneuve has a gift. He made his Empire Strikes Back. But I will say, people are saying it's as good as Empire Strikes Back. Or I've even heard some people say it's better than Empire Strikes Back. I don't think it's close, and I don't even consider them to be on the same tier. Dune Part 2 is a step down from Empire, but that is not saying much, because Dune Part 2 is still a masterpiece. But it's still a masterpiece, nonetheless. I loved Timothée Chalamet's performance so much in this movie. He rocked me to my freaking core.
What did he say?
And we're gonna get more about the performances later on in this video. I still don't know what to think. It's the best film of the decade, and I think it's slightly better than Oppenheimer, but not by that much. It took a lot of guts to be like, hey, this movie is better than Oppenheimer, because the movies aren't comparable. You got a biopic about the making of the atomic bomb, and then you just have a really cool sci-fi movie. And I kind of am leaning more into the sci-fi movie, because sci-fi is my favorite genre of movie. You give me a good sci-fi, I'm gonna consider it one of the greatest movies. Now, do I think it is the greatest movie ever made? No, not even by a long shot. But when I saw people saying that, I'm like, there's no way this movie is that good. But it is that freaking good. It is. Believe the hype. Go watch it. It's that good. So, one thing I like is how the story literally starts directly where the first one took place, which is just so freaking good. We see Paul Atreides is still going now on, or is now going on a revenge spree to go kill the Emperor after the Emperor killed his dad. But it was just done so freaking well. So we're going to talk about the performances of this movie. Let's start with Austin Butler.
You humiliated our family. You humiliated me.
I'm gonna say it. Austin Butler was amazing in this movie. Here's the thing. While he was amazing, I couldn't help but hear the Elvis voice when he talked. Like I said, his performance was still freaking incredible in this movie, and I'm not hating on him. It was one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. But all I could hear was the Elvis voice, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But still, a freaking incredible villain. But some people were comparing him to Heath Ledger. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Heath Ledger. He's a great villain, but I think it is way too early to say he is one of the best villains in cinematic history. Zendaya was also surprisingly good. Zendaya is kind of a difficult actress for me. She has been in some really good movies, but she was also a Disney star at one point, and I'm not coming after like the Disney stars saying Disney stars aren't good actors. I'm just saying her filmography is difficult. But this movie, I think, was her moment to shine. This was her best acting performance I've ever seen her do. When you go to all the Spider-Man movies, The Greatest Showman, whatever other movies Zendaya was in, she's fine in those. But this movie in the first Dune, but she was barely in the first Dune movie, she was freaking incredible in this movie. Florence Pugh, I was kind of hoping we would get a little more screen time, but we didn't. But I'm assuming we're going to get a lot more of Florence Pugh in Dune Messiah. So I thought that was good. Stellan Skarsgård was freaking incredible in this movie as well. He plays the Emperor, obviously. Me and my brother always laughed every time he would enter the screen. Stellan did such an incredible job as the Emperor as well. He got a lot more screen time in this movie than he did in the first movie, which I really liked, and then obviously they killed him off at the end. But I still thought he was a very, very well-written villain that I quite enjoyed to an extent. We got Josh frickin' Brolin. I knew he was going to be in the movie. Like I said, he was in the poster. I liked the revenge arc he went in through this movie. Obviously, he went after Dave Bautista's character. You see, I forget the names. Like, I completely forget these names. But, you know, obviously Josh Brolin went after Dave Bautista's villain for killing Paul Atreides' dad, which I thought was a really good revenge story. And that wasn't really a fight scene. Literally all that happened was he just stabbed him and killed him. I thought that was freaking sick. Would I have loved more Dave Bautista? Yes, and I don't really think Dave Bautista... I'm not going to say he didn't do good in this movie, but he just wasn't in it enough to classify this as the best Dave Bautista performance, because he was in it for like 10 minutes. But then we had the star of the freaking show, Timmy Chalamet, and yes, we're gonna get to Rebecca Ferguson here in a minute. That's on a whole nother level. Timmy Chalamet. He might be, and this is going to be a very hot take, he might as well be the Leo DiCaprio of our generation. One scene in particular that I couldn't get off my mind, and my heart literally skipped a beat, was when he yelled silence. Here's the clip right here. Silence! Not that one. This one.
Silence!
No, that's not even Dune. I meant this one. That's Harry Potter. That is Harry Potter. That is not the one I'm talking about. I mean this one.
Consider what you're about to do, Paul Atreides.
Thank you. Jeez. When he yelled silence, man, my heart skipped a freaking beat. Or when he yelled, "That's not hope!" Like, oh my goodness, I love Timmy Chalamet. Paul Atreides is Anakin Skywalker. Paul Atreides walked so Anakin Skywalker could run. If you didn't have Paul Atreides, you wouldn't have Anakin Skywalker. George Lucas himself confirmed it. That's how it works. Paul Atreides, I love him. Timmy Chalamet, I love him. I love everything about him. He's freaking incredible. I love him so much. And then Rebecca Ferguson was also incredible in this freaking movie as well. Just every performance in this movie was awesome. There was no bad performance in this movie, and that's what I love about it.
May thy knife chip and shatter. May thy knife chip and shatter.
Deep down, as a sci-fi film, this is a once-in-a-lifetime film. This is probably one of my favorite movie theater experiences of all time, and I don't think there's going to be much topping it. This film is the movie of a lifetime. I don't think we're going to get this good of a movie for the rest of the decade. This is the best movie of the decade, and probably the best movie in the last 10 years. Which is crazy to think Denis Villeneuve was able to do something like that. Like, I'm not joining the hype train, right? By, people were getting sick and tired of the Dune glazing, but it makes sense because the Dune glazing is worth it, because the Dune Part 2 glazing is right. There is no such thing as Dune glazing, because everything that was said about this movie is true. It is a masterpiece. It's a once-in-a-lifetime cinematic experience. And if you're one of those weirdos that wait for this thing to start streaming, leave the house. Don't be a loser. Go to the theater and watch it. I watched it in the best theater, Cinemark. Not a sponsor. I'm just saying it's the best theater. Go watch this thing in theaters. Do not, and I mean do not, wait for this thing to go on a streaming platform. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it in IMAX. All the IMAX screenings were sold out in my state, or just around me, not really in my state, but I still watched it on standard format, and it still looked stunning. So, is it probably the best in IMAX? Yes, but it really doesn't matter. Just go watch it. It's going to look good, no matter what. Denis Villeneuve, I freaking love you. Hans Zimmer's score is freaking beautiful. When we got to see Paul Atreides finally ride on the sandworm. Oh, and then that score, like then he played like the Dune soundtrack. I'm not even gonna try to replicate it because it's that much of a masterpiece of a soundtrack that I'm not even going to try to do it. But there's just so much moments where his soundtrack kicked in, and you're just like, wow, oh my gosh. Obviously, John Williams is my favorite, composer of all time. Hans Zimmer's is getting up there. I love Hans Zimmer's so much, and this score hit freaking different. I can't wait to see what Denis Villeneuve does with Dune Messiah. The Holy War has started. I'm excited to see the conclusion of the Dune trilogy. Run, don't walk to your nearest theater. Go watch Dune Part 2. I promise you, it is so worth it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And if you enjoyed it so much, why don't you click the subscribe button below. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.